Anytime you're working with real world data, there's a pretty good chance that the data you need is going to be scattered across multiple locations. It's not always going to be in one single file. You might have to pull some data from a database, some from an Excel file, some from a CSV file, and merge all of these data sets into one working data frame. Therefore, it is incredibly important that you know how to join data frames in the R programming language. So that is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do in today's video. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's me, the part-time economist, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do some of the most common joining operations in the R programming language, and I'll also cover a little bit more of some of the uncommon situations that you might run into, but that are still important to know. So with that being said, this tutorial is designed to be simple, easy to understand. I'll explain everything that I'm doing and hopefully make your life a little bit easier. So with that being said, the first thing we need to do is we need to pull the tidyverse into our workspace. And then I know in almost all of my tutorials, I like using the data sets that come with the R programming language, but for this tutorial, I think it's really important to create these simple data frames because they really illustrate the point of what we're trying to do. So essentially in this, we've done an interview, right? We've done a survey. We've asked different students, what's your favorite color? We've asked other students, do you live on campus or off campus? Now, the issue that you'll notice is that it is not a perfect match, and this is the key of doing joins, right? When we're doing all of these joining operations, the way that they differ is by how do we handle values that are present in one data set but not another data set. So in the student colors, you'll notice that we interviewed Susan, Alex, Jim. We did the same thing when it comes to student housing. We have Susan, Alex, Jim, but you'll notice that we also interviewed Simon about his housing status, but we didn't ask his favorite color. Tyler, we asked his favorite color, but we didn't interview his housing status. So if someone said, hey, I want you to combine these data frames, how would you do it? Well, the answer depends on how you want to handle these discrepancies. Now, one of the most common types of joins that you'll do is an inner join. What the inner join does is it says, look, I want you to take these two different data frames and I want you to join them only where the data is present in both of these data frames. So I'll show you how it works out. But basically, if we do an inner join, we're going to get Susan, we're going to get Alex, we're going to get Jim. We will not get Tyler or Simon. So the way that this works is we pass in data frame 1, so student, student colors, and then we're going to go with student housing, and we're going to go with by. And when we're doing the by, we need to pass in a unique ID column. So in this example, it's going to be name. Now, a key point here to keep in mind, usually when we're selecting columns in R, specifically in the tidyverse, we just type the name of the column, right? We don't use parentheses, but in this example, you do need to use the parentheses. So when we run that, it does exactly like what we were expecting. It gives us that inner join of only the people that are present in both data sets. But let's change things up, right? Let's suppose instead that someone comes to us and they said, look, a student's favorite color is the most important thing in the world. We need all of the students and their favorite colors. If you can give us data about their housing status, that's really great, but it's not a deal breaker, right? So in this example, we want something where all of the data from one data set is preserved, and essentially you give us as much as you can of the second data set. The way that we do that is with either a left or a right join. Now, left and right joins, they're just mirror images of each other. They both do the same thing. I would say the vast majority of people are going to use a left join simply because most people think left to right, right? That's how we read. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's do a left underscore join. We're going to pass. Now, this is very important because with the inner join, the order doesn't matter, but with the left join, the data set that we pass in first, that is the one where we're going to preserve all of the data. So let's suppose again, student colors are the most important thing. We want to keep that. And then we want to get what we can get of student housing. So we're going to go with by, and we're going to go with, again, name. And what you're going to notice is it does exactly like we expect, right? It gives us Susan, Alex, Jim, Tyler, right? It doesn't care about the fact that we don't have housing status for Tyler, right? It gives us Tyler anyway. Now, again, right joins are not something you're going to see extremely common. They can be done. Again, they're just a mirror image of left joins. So student. We're going to go with student housing. We're going to go with student colors. We're going to go with by, and we're going to go with name. What you're going to notice is it does the exact same thing. So we still get Susan, Alex, Jim, Tyler. We still don't get Simon. Right now, if you would switch the order of these, and I'm going to show you this just to prove that it works, right? Because I like proof, right? Like I like seeing things work. We're going to go with student housing, student colors. And what you're going to notice here is it does the exact opposite, right? So it gives us Simon and his housing status. It doesn't care about the fact that we don't have a favorite color for him. Now, let's suppose instead they said, look, I want you to just give me everything. If we talk to a student, we want to have that student in the data set. How would we do that? Well, quite simply, we would use a full underscore join. Again, the order here is irrelevant, student, student colors, student housing. We're going to go with by, and then we're going to go with name. And that is going to give us everyone, right? So you'll see all 5 students are listed here. If we don't have a specific value for them, no worry, doesn't bother us, right? So that is the basics of left join. I mean, honestly, inner join, left join, that's what you're going to use the vast majority of the time, at least in my experience. Your case may be different. But I want to show you a couple things that might not be used as commonly, but that are still incredibly important. And the first of those is the anti-join. So there might be cases where we're saying, look, we have 95% complete data. I just want to see the examples where something was missing. And the way that we do that is with anti-join. So anti-join, again, we're going to pass in student colors. We're going to go with student housing. And again, we're going to do still by, and that is going to be joined on name. Now, what you're going to notice with that is it lists the things that we did not represent. So in student colors, right, we had Susan, Alex, Jim, Tyler. In student housing, we had Susan, Alex, Jim, Simone. Now, the issue, Tyler was not represented in that second data set. So on that anti-join, it is going to tell us, look, Tyler, we didn't have a value for Tyler in that second data set. Now, obviously, if we were to switch it around and do student housing first, it would say that Simon wasn't represented in the colors data set. So the important thing here is that the order does matter when you're doing the anti-join, right? So if we're anti-joining on students, it's going to say who in the students data set was not represented in that second data set. Now, 2 more things that I want to show you. And again, I'm going to give you here 2 data sets to work with. But essentially, let's suppose that what we are trying to do is we are trying to see these 2 different cities, right? Well, not just 2 different cities, 4 different cities. We want to join a data frame so that we know both their population and their mayor. Now, if you've been paying attention to what we've been doing, you know we can use an inner join, right? Give us a complete data frame with the matches that are in both data sets. However, when we use that join key city, you're going to notice that we have a big problem. And the problem that we run into is it says inner join. There's just too many matches, right? We're detecting a many-to-many relationship here. So not only is that annoying from the perspective of giving us a warning, but if we actually look at that data frame, you're going to notice that it is very messy. So we have state X, we have state Y, we have Springfield listed 4 different times, we have Portland listed 4 different times, right? Like this is not good for us, right? So we need to go back, we need to clean that up just a little bit. And the way that we're going to do that is by doing the same inner join. We pass in the same data frames, but this time what we're doing is we are passing in a vector of the columns that we want to join on, right? So what we're essentially saying in this data frame is, look, we need you to join by the city, but also the state, right? Now, this is incredibly important, especially when you're working with geographic data, because we see a ton of duplication, right? How many cities around the world are named Rome, right? If we're thinking about high schools, right? How many high schools in the US are called West High or Central High, right? So if we were just to merge on that one specific identifier, we would get a lot of messy data. So what we want to do is we want to find a way to narrow this down. So even if we were in the state, right? The entire state of Illinois, right? Maybe there are still multiple cities within that state with the same name. So we might have to go join by city, state, and county, right? In this example, we don't have counties, so we can simply go with the vector of city and state. And then when we look at that, what you'll notice is that it has cleared everything up for us. We only have Springfield, Illinois, Springfield, Massachusetts. It is exactly like we're looking for. So I know this was a little bit of a longer video, but I think it's really important to talk about this different way of joining data because, like I said, when you're in the real world, when you are joining data from multiple places, being able to get your data into a consolidated format is absolutely essential. So I hope you found the video useful. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.